I got a message from Tep. That was little Tep, not big Tep, not Tep.
No, that was Lil Tep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I used to play with his dad, man. His dad,
Yeah, that was Lil Tep.
hell of a hitter, man. Hell of a hitter.
hmm
Oh,
You know, I hate telling this story about Tep Senior Pops.
hmm
Um, I know towards he was towards the not playing anymore, and I was playing with the Cubs at this time, and I know when he hear this, he's gonna probably kill me later. And I just so happened to hit a grand slam off him,
mm,
and but again, he's a fastball pitcher, and he
yes.
was throwing his his curve, whatever he was throwing.
That he threw like a screwball. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and I happened to catch him, and but it's kind of funny because I don't really take credit for that
hmm
because I knew if it was a fast, you know what I'm saying, like
Right.
a person in their career, and plus I had so much respect for Pops. You know what I'm saying? So for me to catch
Man.
that off him, every time I see him, I say, I hit a home run off you, Pops. I got you. I got you. I don't care what nobody else say. I got you. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
um, but he never let it go down from there. So that's my man. Nothing but respect for Tap Senior. Hopefully, I can get him to do one of my 860
Yeah,
shows.
that would be nice. That would be nice.
That's my ultimate goal too, bro. Like to get him to do my 860 show.
hmm
So okay, we back on, Rob. We back on. Hey,
Okay.
we back on. You was talking about Brooklyn, and you was talking about how it was originally a fast pitch team,
Yeah.
and actually where it started in Bristol. So talk about that.
Well, like Bristol Street was strictly slow pitch. That was the original Brownsville softball league. And
hmm
you had guys like Jake was pretty young back then. I remember Jake,
hmm
um, Don and Hoop from the Impalas. Jake played with me. I actually my first team out there, official team where I wasn't like a fill-in was Sugar Shack. And that team was run by Mac. So it was Mac and Charlie Marie. Charlie Marie. Jake was on that team. CJ Funches. We played against the brothers. That's Doug played for these guys. Cat, Ricky Nobles. Well, Ricky bounced back and forth between the brothers and the Impalas. I think when I first met or played against Ricky Nobles, Ricky was
hmm
playing with the Impalas with Pop, and I'm saying Randy was. This is when Randy was a little baby. He wasn't even
hmm
who he was. And the funny thing, when the league uh, moved to Gershwin, and like I was saying, it was strictly accidental because Gershwin used to be strictly fast pitch.
hmm
It was slingshot back in those
Okay.
days. You had a slingshot league, and then it went from slingshot to modified fast pitch. So what happened then? I was playing for a team called the BC All Stars.
Okay.
I was about 16 or 17, playing for Bobby Curry, and it's funny because I was playing against Brooklyn. Now,
hmm
but I knew Dave um, because the circle back then in softball was so small, you
hmm
know, and so I knew Dave from playing against him. And what happened was the last year Gershwin was in existence in fast pitch. Bobby Curry, we had lost the championship to Brooklyn the year before.
Okay.
They one of the guys that contributed to Kingston Park, Jerry Ingalera. Uh,
Jerry. I had Jerry on the show. Shout out to Jerry.
man, yeah, shout out to Jerry. Jerry, man, you want to this guy he's a bulldog. Jerry was a bulldog. He didn't throw hard. You had guys that would throw slingshot. They would modify their motion
Hmm.
to fit the parameters of modified fast pitch. Jerry didn't throw hard. In fact, Jerry had a rubber arm. The more games Jerry pitched in a day, the better his curveball.
Oh.
I mean, and the year before we played against Brooklyn in the championship when I was playing for BC, the BC All Stars, Jerry stood us on our ear. We couldn't touch him. We couldn't touch him. And so what happened was Bobby Curry decided he wasn't going to lose to Brooklyn anymore. So he went upstate to Nyack, New York, and got a guy named John Jameson. And
Okay.
Jameson he's in Sports Illustrated. He was in Sports Illustrated. He was one of the greatest fast pitch pitchers in
Hmm.
softball in the state of New York. So Bobby went upstate to Nyack, got him, brought him down, and that was the year we beat Brooklyn, and that killed the
Oh man.
that killed the league. So what happened was teams couldn't compete anymore. They just could not compete, and so the fast pitch league died out, and then Brownsville moved to Gershwin.
Hmm.
And it was supposed to be for an interim thing, but being that the park was right there, I grew up right across the street in Linden Houses, and most of the guys that were playing with BC All Stars, they didn't come back. They didn't want to play slow pitch, so they didn't come back. So that's how I ended up playing briefly with Brooklyn. I started and I went in the military, but the thing was, Speedy uh, played with a team called the Saints. Okay, I talk about Speedy all the time, and me and last time I was in New York was me, Calvin Boone, there's a bunch of other guys sitting around St. John's, and Vince. They were asking questions, and I said, and I'll say this then, and I say it again. Speedy was probably the best pure athlete. When I say pure, this dude could throw a football 40, 50 yards flat footed. So he played football in the winter. He played.
Hmm.
I would go watch him. I would go watch him play at Wingate Park in the 6 feet and under. I mean,
Hmm.
just a freaking tremendous athlete. And then he played with the Saints, and um, I think he played with BC All Stars our last year. So these like I said, guys like Speedy, guys like uh, Doc, uh, uh, you know, we all Doug Whitfield. Um,
Doug. Hmm.
Me and Doug go back to Brownsville. We were probably we were kids. He was playing with the brothers. I was playing with the Sugar Shack. Then we went to high school, and I tell people this all the time. At Thomas Jefferson, Doug went to he went to South Shore, and we played
Mm.
with Jeff. And let me tell you something. If Doug would have came to Jeff and played with us, you would have probably been paying money to see Doug Whitfield.
Well, I heard you recruited some good ball players. I heard you recruited Delroy to come to Thomas Jefferson.
Well, yeah,
And then-
Delroy was going. Let me tell you, it was funny. Delroy was going to go to Jeff anyway, but
oh, he's gonna go
that's right.
anyway.
That's what it was. He wasn't going to Canarsie. He wasn't going to South Shore. He wasn't going to Tilden. But yeah, Delroy. I moved in that building after we moved off of Georgia Avenue in East New York. We moved into Linden Houses. Delroy lived on the first floor, and Delroy, Derek Matamoro, Al Watson. I watched these kids. They were kids, you know. Al Watson, another tremendous basketball player. I mean,
Yeah.
smooth. Just as smooth as he was playing shortstop, he was just as smooth on the basketball court. He was just a killer. He was an assassin. And so I coached Delroy, Derek, and some other guys in the housing league, in the summer league, and that was that connection. And it was funny, like I said in the post that I posted in Kingston Park, it was a family. It was a
Right.
family, and
Mhm.
so guys like when we lost those championships to More Better, people
Hmm.
were trying to make it seem like a rivalry. To me, it wasn't a rivalry. It was like it was a coming of age to watch. It was like watching your little brother. You know how it is when you play against your little
Oh
brother
yeah,
and
definitely.
and you and he finally takes you out on the basketball court and do you. And that's what it was. We had nothing against. I know I did, and a lot of guys on Brooklyn. We had nothing against More Better. We loved them. Those guys were like family. Chris Legree, probably one of the one of the premier shortstops to play in the league. I was a shortstop, but Al Watson, Chris Legree, I would move over for them guys. Simple.
I'm gonna read you a lineup.
Okay.
Tell me what you think of this lineup. Okay. Lefty McQueen at first base. Chris Legree at second base.
Okay.
Leon at shortstop.
Okay.
You or Lenny Ming at third base.
Okay.
Wuha in the outfield. Doc Madison and Bobby Reedy and Jerry pitching. Was you on the field with that group right there?
Yes.
How the hell did y'all lose any games?
We didn't lose. We lost games in Kingston, and
Oh, okay. That
but
lineup lost games in Kingston?
yeah, I mean, Mo Better took us out what 2 years in a row, and you know why? It was a combination of things. You got to understand something. We Brooklyn on any given weekend, we're playing, and this is no exaggeration. Anybody who played with us will tell you this. On any given weekend, and that's Saturday and Sunday, we're playing about 10, 12 games.
I can agree with that.
10,
I've,
12 games. We
I've
getting
played
up.
with Brooklyn. Yep. Hmm.
Yep, we playing a 9 o'clock doubleheader in the Expo League, and then maybe 2 or 3 o'clock doubleheader in McCarran Park.
Hmm.
Okay, that's Saturday. Okay, and then Sunday we getting up. We going to Coney Island. We going to Luna Park. We playing a doubleheader in Luna Park,
Hmm.
or we might be out on Grand Street off the FDR Drive in Manhattan, or we might be. And during the week we're
Mm.
playing in Central Park in the Show Business League. You follow what I'm
Mm.
saying? So it took its toll. It took its toll. So that's why I never complained about, and a lot of guys on our team never complained about playing time. We never complained about moving over for certain players. Like when Lenny Benjamin came and played with us a couple of years. Another guy, tremendous
Rest
player.
in peace, Lenny
Yes,
B.
sir.
That's my
Yes,
man, Lenny B. That's right.
yes, sir. I mean, tremendous. When he came, I tell you a story. When Dave brought him out to play in the Expo League. The Expo League was out in Sunset Park
Right.
in the evenings, and we had a guy playing first base named Jerry Bale. Jerry Bale was a big Italian kid, left-handed, hit bombs. Great player, great hitter. So when Dave brought Lenny out to the park, me and Dave was on the way. Me and Dave used to have long conversations, especially after Wahoo, Chris, and all of these guys, Lenny Ming, uh, Lefty McQueen. When all of them guys stopped playing, that I moved up to the veteran spot. So me and Dave would have a lot of conversations.
Mm.
So we had this conversation um, on the way to the park. He says, "What do you think Jerry's going to say?" Because I'm going to play Lenny at first, and I looked at Dave. He's got to play Lenny at first
Mhm.
because not that Jerry was deficient. It's just that Lenny Benjamin, for a dude his size, had the softest hands, the best footwork that I've seen any first baseman have around first base, and could hit a ton. Got to
All
play.
sides of the part too. All
Yep,
sides of the part too.
got
That's
to
right.
play. We one thing I love about Dave Goldstein, okay, and I go back a lot of years with Mr. Goldstein. He will always play the players that contributed. It didn't matter.
Mm.
It didn't. You know what I'm saying? It
Mhm.
so with like I said, the situation with me and Chris Legree. Chris, when I came on the team, Chris was the shortstop. He was the shortstop. I came back home from the military. We were playing in St. John's. I don't think Chris played with us out there in St. John's, but he played with us everywhere else. Um, And so it wasn't a question. This is his team. This is
Mhm.
Gary's team. So I go up the middle, play short center, or I play second base. I wasn't going to try to move Lenny Ming. Lenny Ming was Lenny Ming. He's a legend.
Mhm.
So that's one attitude that and it was not just me. It was prevalent with everybody on the team. We did what we had to do to win. It didn't
Okay.
matter. It wasn't no egos. It wasn't any of that.
Right. I want to go back a little bit.
Hmm.
Now, where did you grow up at?
I grew up in East New York on Georgia Avenue between New Lots and Riverdale.
Okay, okay. That's an area that's not too far from Gershwin, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It's just on the other side of Linden Boulevard. Yeah.
Another side of London Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, did you play baseball and basketball, or did you just play baseball?
I played it all.
You played it
What
all. Okay,
whatever season was in season, I that's what we did back in those days. I mean,
that's true.
we played. It wasn't no
Mhm.
Nintendo, it wasn't no Xbox, it wasn't any of that.
That's true.
Play
That's true.
ball. That's what you
That's
did.
true. That's true.
So, and it was purely accidental. Because like I said, my brother, Barry, growing up was that's who I wanted to be like. I wanted to be. Only thing that was sad about that is he was a lefty and I was a righty. I even wanted to be a lefty.
Mm.
He was just how your little brother. I was that little brother that tailed around his big brother, and also Willie. I remember spending summers at 360 Dumont in Tilden Projects.
Mhm.
My aunt Minnie and my uncle Randall was Willie's parents, and they used to have across right there on the old Pilgrim Baptist Church. The lot was right across the street from 360, and we would be in that backyard, and I would watch Willie, Terry, his brother Terry, my brother, even that's how I met Gary Johnson because
Mm.
Gary Johnson lived in Brownsville houses, and these guys would play games all day long. I mean, hard nosed like baseball games in the back of Tilden Projects.
Oh,
So
wow.
it was fun because and so then it was my turn when those guys grew up and I was like 13, 14 years old. I would go spend the weekend because me and Lamont, Willie's next to the youngest, that's Shorty. Um, we were close, and then Timmy came along, which is the baby, and so I would go spend weekends over there, and we'd be in the backyard just playing stickball all day.
Mhm.
Um, so that's just how it started.
So let's talk about your baseball career. Now, I know you said you started around 13, 14, being like your brother, watching your cousins.
Hmm.
How did you take that influence going into because you couldn't middle school? Did you play Barney's youth service or anything like that?
Played
What did
out in parade grounds.
you
those, those double and triple headers, and then running 150 sprints, wind sprints, two sets of 75. Crazy Melzetta and the rest of those guys.
Well,
Yeah, it was it was funny because I played my baseball thing was started out in East New York Little League. That's how the family aspect. I don't know if you know Delroy's younger brother Ted. Tedwin.
yes, yeah.
Tedwin played on a team called the Mets, right?
Mhm.
Roger Du Bois. Do you ever heard of Roger Du Bois?
I know Raj. That's Cuzzo. That's family too.
Okay. When you see Rod, you ask him, who taught you how to throw a curveball? I did.
Okay.
Because we grew up on the same block. And so I coached. Norris Gordon was the head coach, but I was like the third base coach, and I was with the Reds. That's how I knew. That's how I met Ted Delroy and the rest of those guys playing again. Because those two teams, the Mets and the Reds, they would meet each other in the championship. And I'm gonna tell you something else. Tedwin was a hell of a hitter too. I was a hell of a ball player too.
Mm.
Ted McSam, hell of a ball player. Roger Du Bois, hell of a ball player. Um, and so that's where my baseball thing started because I would coach them, and then I played the Pony League against Chino, um, Greg Monotab, and them guys. I don't know if you know Greg.
No,
A
not
lot of those
familiar.
guys, they Kano, Ricky
I
Monson.
heard Kano, yeah. No
They
Kano.
came later. They was behind us, and it was funny because they were playing with a team called the Latin Souls.
I remember playing against Light Souls.
So
Woo!
we played out in I
Break.
played in what this the Los Ria League, which was in East New York High School, and I played with Goya. I played with Cafe Bustelo, and so when it was time for me to go to high school, my mother was like, "You ain't going to Jeff, you know." Going to Jeff. So it was I ended up having to go to Franklin K. Lane.
Oh man, she shipped you all the way out there.
She tried to. Let me tell you what happened. She talked to Willie's mother, my aunt Minnie, and Lamont. Shorty was going to Lane. Shorty played baseball at Franklin K. Lane, and she was like, "Well, let Robbie go there." And I'm like, "I don't want to go there because all my friends was going to Jeff." And what happened was they had the year that Shorty was like a year and a half older than me, so he was like a grade ahead of me. And the year I was supposed to go to Lane, they had race riots there. And my mother was like, "I'm not sending you out there." So it was too late for me to go to any other school but my zone school, which was Jeff. So I remember sitting in the guidance office with my mother and my father. And Steve Nathanson, who was the baseball coach, walked by. He looked. He knew me from playing out in the park and a couple other guys. And he looked, says, "You going here?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I ended up playing on the baseball team. Bobby Reedy. That team. That's why when you were saying you pitched the no hitter against Jeff.
That was just a one hitter. I ain't gonna take too much credit. It was just a one hitter. Yeah, it was just a one hitter.
What year was that?
93.
Oh yeah, we were gone. We were long gone then.
Oh yeah, we were long gone. Those Jefferson teams was horrible, bro.
So
like we knew for a fact that was 2 wins.
Really, Jeff was that bad?
Jeff was that bad, man.
Wow.
It was that bad where they had mismatched tops and bottoms.
Okay.
Yeah, but we knew, you know how it is when you playing in that conference. Like you knew Jefferson was a bad school, so you knew you could get with, especially if you knew your team. You knew that they wouldn't beat you or what you had.
Right.
Boys High was a toss up. You didn't know what you was doing at Boys High. The schools you really had to worry about, the Brooklyn Techs. You know, you had to worry about them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe Westinghouse here and there, Eastern District maybe here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you just knew certain schools that you can get those W's in. So, but I knew when we played against Brooklyn Tech, we knew we played against the whole Latin team, you know, so we didn't have to worry about them because they was always in the championship. You know, so those are the difference. But yeah, when we played against Jeff, it was. I knew that was a win automatically.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I knew that was a win.
Well, we were the year I was there was 74 to 78, and those years we were undefeated all 4 years. I mean, we had a tremendous team.
What?
Yes, we never lost a game. Now we lost. We're 1 game away from the city championship. We lost to New Dorp High School. They had a freshman pitching for them that beat us. Now, you got to understand something. That team, you had Bobby Reedy, you had Willie Lozado, you had Jimmy Torres, James Harris. I mean, we ended up beating Lafayette High School, and they had a kid pitching for them named Frank Viola. Remember Frankie Viola?
Frank would play for the Twins?
And the Mets. Yeah,
the Mets, yeah.
We used to open his ass and but I mean, like everything else, he stuck with it and he became a major league pitcher when and they had a kid on that team named Vito Dente. Frankie V wasn't even the best player on that team. The best player on that team was a kid named Vito Dente. The guy had glasses as thick as Coke bottles. His glasses were so thick he could read a road map and see people waving at him. That's how thick it was. But he threw pure gas. Okay, and those were great teams, and that's where we made a lot of connections. Same, like I said, if Doug Whitfield would have went to any other high school If he'd have came to Jeff, Doug Whitfield would have been a superstar. But he ended up going to South Shore. They had a kid named, the coach was Chet Feldman Sr., and Chet Feldman Jr. was his son playing on the team. We would go to South Shore. We didn't worry about Chet. Chet couldn't touch James. Chet couldn't touch Jimmy Torres. Doug was the player. We couldn't get him out.
That's crazy. You say that. What about was Sean after you? Sean Dunson was after you?
Sean was with Delroy. Sean was at the time with Delroy. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that era with Sean, I remember another person who said they went to Jefferson. Bingo.
Oh, Bingo was before me.
Oh, he's before you. Okay.
When we got there, Bingo played with Rip Goldman. Rip Goldman, when I got to Jeff, Nate was the JV coach. So when I was a freshman, Rip was Rip's last year, and Bingo was his star. Bingo was his star, and that's again that connection. You had the baseball connection, and then later on in life, we had softball.
Right. So it carried over.
It carried over, and Bingo was the same player. People, like I said, Bingo probably was maybe the second, maybe third best center fielder I've seen out there. Like, without a doubt, hands down, it's Doc. Because the thing with Doc, Dwight Madison, I could sit and watch him play center field all day long. All day. I've never seen him struggle to track a ball. This dude, I seen some shots hit, and Dwight just, I'm in the infield, and I see, we talking about fast pitch, and the guy gets up and hits a bomb, and he's tearing around the bases, and I look, just turn around, Doc is like this, boom, smooth, and could hit, could run. He was the total package. He was the total package. The same thing I said. When we got to Brooklyn, Gary Johnson was the center fielder. Gary Johnson moved over for Doc without hesitation.
Damn.
It was like no question, and that was the difference with this team, because there was no personalities. We had fun, man. My side would be hurting sitting on the bench laughing and joking, because we genuinely liked each other. We had no animosity toward each other. We just had one common goal. We wanted to win. And everywhere we went, we won.
Let me ask you this question. I know you said Gary played center like Doc. What separated them two? Like, what was the difference maker between them two?
The difference between Gary and Doc was Gary was an athlete. He was an athlete. He would go get him. He could go get him. Don't get me wrong. The difference between Gary and Doc is Doc was born to play center field, dude. It's like
that instinct.
I've never seen a ball hit over his head. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know if you know Chip.
Yeah.
Chip, another great center fielder.
Another go-getter too. Yeah.
I'm gonna give Chip his flowers too. But again, if I had to pick a center fielder, just one, Dwight Madison. Nobody can. I mean, it was just
my guy.
Yeah.
Shout out to my guy Doc. Shout out to Doc. I know you on here checking in. I know you checking in. It's my guy, man.
And
I love to hear these stories, because for guys that, like you said Gary, I heard that he's a Hall of Famer, hands down. And then you hear Doc, but then you hear that Gary moved over for Doc. Like, he didn't think twice. He was like, nah, you going to take this spot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No question.
Where I'm playing in that era that I played in, they was like, nah, we're not moving for you. You need to go find another spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the end of the day, like you said, the common goal was to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When Dave saw Al Watson, and this is funny,
but I heard you brought Al to Brooklyn.
I did.
Hey, see,
I
I did
brought
my
Tep.
research. See, I did my research.
Yeah, because that summer I used to watch Al, and the crazy thing is Al would be out in the park just joking, just
uh,
not joking, but just shagging ground balls. And I look, and we used to play building, building to building, like different. Al lived, I think his building number was 640, 630. I was in me, Delroy was in 225. D Matt was in 215, and so the summer league came together, the housing league, and we had tryouts. Had him. I coached the team in Gershwin, and Al came out, and he was working out with him. And I said, "This dude can play." We just looked at Al as a basketball player. We didn't look at him as a softball player. But then I realized he was the same accolades that I would give Dwight Madison about playing center field. I would give to Al Watson playing shortstop. Effortless. Nothing. He can do it all. He can go up the middle. He can go in the hole. And the thing was, he would go to his left so smooth, and then turn, and it was like he was throwing a bounce pass.
yeah, he definitely played basketball when he was playing. But that's like playing with him and Tep. Same way. Them dudes
Yeah,
is like magical in that middle. You know what I'm saying? And they can
exactly.
just change off and play that way. Oh
And
man.
speaking of Tep, I I remember him when he was a kid. Tep was a
He's on here, by the way. I'm just letting you
is he?
know he's
All
on
right.
here.
Hmm.
You know, so
He was a park rat. Hey, come on, man. His father, I got tremendous respect for his dad. We played together on the BC All Stars. Um, Tep was about his business. Tep Senior,
mhm.
okay, he was about his business. Tremendous respect. He could hit too. Now, don't get it
Mhm.
twisted. He was a pitcher, but he can hit, and he used to have he had the shortest bats, and I was like, we used to sit on the bench and be like, yo, how does he hit the ball so hard with that little? But this was in his prime. This dude,
Right.
again. So when I saw Tep out there, little Tep now later on, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised
Mm. Mm.
because that was his father, and he grew up around softball. That's what he did. That's what he did. Same thing, Delroy, D Matt. These kids, they grew up around softball because the park was right across it. Well, not for Tep, but for Delroy, for Al Watson, Gershwin was right across the street, and that's how I started when I was playing softball. I would, you had the summer leagues. Um, they call them the welfare league, social service league. That's how I met Dave Goldstein.
Speedy
And
said he had dinosaurs on his bat.
yeah, Speedy, Speedy played. Let me tell you when I met Speedy. The first time I saw Speedy. Speedy was there was a fast. This was during the fast pitch league. Speedy played for a team called the Saints, right? It was a neighborhood team, and I can't remember who it was, but somebody. Speedy was a right fielder, and this one particular game, somebody hit a bomb to right center, right field, and we just knew Speedy couldn't run this ball down. It was way over his head. This dude ran it down. Okay, caught it. But the amazing part is his arm. This dude had one of this great. You didn't tag up on Speedy. Not in Gershwin. Not if it was hit the right field. You better stay your ass on third base.
Now I've seen that little field in Gershwin.
What
That's a
about it?
little field on the concrete, man.
Well, yeah, left field is the short porch in left field. That's why
Yeah,
it was more
that's a
suited.
little field.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. That's why
I
it was
looked
more
at that
suited
field.
for fast pitch than slow pitch. And when the league finally moved from Gershwin to Kingston,
Mhm.
um, I think that was the best thing. That right there was pretty. I think that year, the year that the year before, um, Gershwin. I mean, the year before Gershwin. The year before the league moved to Kingston, we beat the Brothers. That was the last championship we won in Brownsville. We beat the Brothers at Gershwin, And
BC All Stars? Was it BC
no,
All Stars?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
We beat the brothers in Brownsville. I mean in Gershwin. Won the Brownsville League. Then the following year, Brooklyn didn't play in
Mm.
in Gershwin. So I played. Me and my brother ended up playing for the Impalas, and we won the
Mm.
championship with the Impalas. I can't remember. I know Chip was on the team. On the team, it might have been T's. It might have been T's Devils or
Tease
Brown.
Devils. I heard it was Tease Devils.
It might have been them. But yeah, that Impala team. That's when Randy was like lights out. Couldn't touch his
Yeah.
knuckleball.
Yeah. I heard. I interviewed Randy on here. Great
Yeah,
guy. Yeah, great guy.
yeah. He's another one. I watched him grow up from a little kid. You know, you would in between innings, he got your glove down the line in right field playing catch, and you trying to go on the field like, "Where's my glove?" Randy got your glove. Same thing with Lil Tep. Again, they grew up around the game, so it was no surprise to see the way they played the game and how good they were because they grew up around
That's amazing.
it. Hmm.
Another question for you.
Hmm.
I hear about these Impalas teams, and I hear about the Mo Better teams. I saw the last three. Part of some of the Mo Better teams championships.
Hmm.
You've seen both,
Hmm.
and where would you rank those two teams in one and two?
Um, I'll put it to you like this: the Impala team would bludgeon you to death. They would just hit bombs. They had I what's his name? IE that I think he was Polynesian, big dude. He hit
Mm-hmm.
bombs. They had him. You had Don. You had Hoot. You know, you had they had a great team. The difference between the Impalas and More Better, I would give it to More Better. Here's why:
Mm-hmm.
because More Better, love them or hate them, they were fundamentally sound.
Mm.
They were hit behind the runners. They were built. Chris Legree was a genius. He built that team especially for Kingston.
Mm. Okay, I see what you're saying. So he knew what he
Butler,
needed. He knew what he needed,
yep.
and wouldn't put them in that specific
And
position.
that's
Okay, I
why
see what
that's why nobody and on top of that, me and I don't know if you know Demetrius Allen played he lives in Albany. He played with us too. Me and Demetrius talk sometimes, maybe 2, 3 times a week.
you're
And we got on the subject about 2 weeks ago about More Better. And we was laughing. He was like, "Yo, we could never beat More Better," and we both concurred. The reason why we could not beat them was because again, Chris Legree, number one, them kids were dedicated. They were
saying.
dedicated. They would practice 3, 4 days a week. Can you imagine Dave calling practice? Now, one thing I can say about Brooklyn, we is, we is not practicing.
Dave ain't doing no practice. I know that very bad.
If it ain't a dollar in it for Dave, I love Dave Goldstein. He's like a surrogate father to me. But
Mm,
Dave Goldstein was a money manager. He
mm,
ain't getting on that field. He ain't putting 10 guys on that field unless there's a dollar to be made. And we played in leagues where it was a lot of betting. That
mm,
one year that Kingston, I mean that uh, Gershwin moved to Kingston, that probably was the golden year of Brownsville softball because it was so much money bet out in the park. I mean, it was thousands of dollars, man,
yeah, I heard.
thousands.
I
You
heard.
know, the Wild Bunch with Donnie and
Mm,
um, uh, Chappie, 309, um, Brooklyn. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, some days you would come out there on a Sunday and the people in the community. The beautiful thing was the people in the Saturday night before the game. I could be walking out the projects, walking to the corner store, and bumping some of the older guys, the men that be out at the park. Hey, who y'all got tomorrow? You know, yo, we playing Chappie. You think they're gonna bet? Everybody coming on your team tomorrow? And that's what it was a way that it kept the neighborhood thriving. It kept Gershwin thriving because I don't know when the league left Gershwin. Gershwin was a ghost town. was a ghost town. That park was empty. Uh, that, but one thing I could honestly say on Friday night, Saturday mornings, Gershwin was alive. Sunday, it was a happening. You had thousands of people out there, hundreds of people out there, cars double and triple park on Stanley Avenue. You know,
That's crazy.
that's when the league was in its glory. Um, and
Delroy said Ted is on here too. Ted is on here.
Ted, what's up, Ted? And it's like, man, I love it because, like I said, I made so many friends. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? It's
Hmm.
so much. Every era. If you go from the late '80s, if you go from the late '80s to all the way up to, I think my last year was I want to say 90, 91. I
Hmm.
just couldn't do it anymore. I had heel spurs. My legs was killing me. You know. So, but the thing is that every decade or every year was special. I had a friendship. Like I said, to watch More Better, to watch the Hawks. I don't know if you remember the Hawks,
Linden Hawks.
Linden Hawks. These man, you know how much grief I caught from the Linden Hawks. Like,
Because you live right there, probably.
and then they tried to. My brother, um, Lou. I love Lou, man. Lou is a funny dude. Um, went to my brother and was like, "You need to tell your brother he need to play with us." You had Pay and T, the two twins, the Leary twins.
Mhm.
You had I think Speedy played 1 year with them, but then he ended up going with Chris.
Yeah,
Um,
no better.
it was fun. It was just like, but the thing was, the Linden Hawks, when we played, when they were on the schedule, I would bump into the guys and then they would be talking trash to me. We're gonna put your ass tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, okay. But it was fun because these were my friends. I grew up with these cats
In the same neighborhood.
in the
Yeah,
same neighborhood, so
yeah.
it was fun. It's it. I wish the sad part about the whole thing is, I was up. Me and Demetrius was in St. John's last summer. I came up to New York last summer, and in the sea, I saw guys that I hadn't seen in years.
Mhm.
Do you know Omar?
Yeah, Lefty Omar.
No, no, not that Omar.
No,
Not that Omar. Omar, dark skinned Omar. I can't remember his last. He, uh, anyway, he was our bat boy.
he lived in Albany.
Yeah, I think he did live in Albany. He used to be out in St. John's. He used to be out on the dirt field. He was our bat boy.
Wow.
And then again, he's another one. Started playing. He started playing slow pitch. Boom. I played ball with Tony Cherry Sr.
Oh my
He,
God.
he's another one. This man was a great ball player. You know, it was fun to see that transition, and then to see his son. You know, I never really played with Tony Cherry Jr. I seen him play. I know he was a beast. You know, but
I
again,
played with Tony. I
right,
played Tony. Tony had me playing all over the place, man.
right. But I
Queens,
wasn't
Long Island.
surprised. Yeah,
Yeah. Al Watts said, "What's up, Rob?"
yeah. What's up, Alley Cat? His nickname was Alley Cat. We used to call him Alley Cat.
Oh,
What's,
we call him Cat, Alley
yeah,
Cat, 20. You know, we got a lot of names for him.
yeah. Al is Al is like the closest thing. Him and Delroy, Ted, Derek, these guys are the closest thing to like little brothers to me. You know what I'm saying? Because
Mm,
like I said, I watched their transition. I watched them
mm,
become like, forget it. Especially Delroy. When Delroy came to Jeff, I said, yo, I talked to Nate, and I said, yo, he can play, you know. And Nate, I didn't have to say once he went out there, he handled his business. He handled his business. So and that was a testament to who he is as an individual. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Same thing with the rest of these guys. Ted, Ted, G Mo,
Chimo. Mhm.
Let me tell you, it was funny about Gmo. I remember when Gmo first came out there, and um, he developed into like a tremendous hitter. And because when he first came out there, I think he was trying to pull the ball a lot. And see, I was always a student of the game. I sit and watch people. I watch players. Probably because I was probably one of the biggest shit talkers in the world out there. And I know they done told you that. You know.
Worse than Randy?
Oh hell yeah, they couldn't touch it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Where do you think Randy got it? You know what I'm saying? Where do you think he got it from? I mean, but here's the thing though. You know where I got it from? Lenny Ming.
Oh.
Man, Lenny Ming would make you. I used to watch guys just want to kill Lenny Ming, but they didn't have the stones to put their hands on him, you know. But a perfect example. We're playing a team out in Foster Park, Foster and Nostrand, and this guy ended up playing with us later on. His name was Al Smith. So Al Smith came out and he was taking batting practice at Foster and Nostrand. He remember these suede mittens with the fur?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, he was using those for batting gloves,
Oh my
right?
God.
But he was hitting bombs off the side of the building in left field. And you've been to Foster and Nostrand before, right?
Yes.
He
Yes.
was. I mean, he was hitting the second, third floor easy. Okay, in batting practice, and we sitting there looking like, oh damn, you
Ain't
know.
no it ain't no field over there no more.
I heard they
That's by Vanderbilt Projects, if I'm not
Vanderbilt
mistaken.
projects. I mean, he was hitting
Mhm.
bombs off of the building in Vanderbilt. So the game starts. Al comes up. I'm at short. I think this day Calvin Boone was up the middle, and so we look at each other like, damn, this motherfucker get hit. Lenny Ming in the middle of the inning when he walks up to the plate, he steps in the box. Lenny calls timeout. Lenny's at third base. Then he goes timeout, timeout, and
Mhm.
walks to the middle of the infield and turns around and says to the pitcher and the rest of us in the field, he says, I don't give a shit what happens. He said, but this motherfucker with those mittens on ain't supposed to hit shit. So, and we just started dying. And we looked, and you could see Al was ready to just chew nails. And you know who was on the mound, right? Dave Goldstein.
Pitcher.
Yeah, throwing that cream puff shit. So
That powder puff slow. I used to get scared when Dave used to pitch, man. I used to get scared. I was like, somebody gonna tear you up coming up that middle, boy. They
going
gonna
up the
tear you,
middle.
you
Yeah,
know
I
what I'm
used to be
saying?
out there
I
too.
used to be so scared. I'm like, yo, Dave, man, maybe you should just go over there, man. Don't pitch no more, please.
But you know what though? Dave, I love him, I hate him. He wanted the ball.
He did. He
He
still
wanted the ball.
played up until it was time,
Yeah,
since he passed.
he
Yep.
wanted the ball so bad. Lefty McQueen and Lenny Ming one day took his glove. Like the backstop,
Mm-hmm.
and the fence that hangs over the home plate.
Mm-hmm.
They took his glove before the game because Dave was warming up the pitch. They was like, "Oh hell no, you ain't pitching." They took his glove and threw the shit up on the backstop. Told to go get
Oh man.
it. So
They do my man Dave like that.
man, we used to have so much fun, man. Them guys, those we would sit on the bench and be laughing. Calvin Boone kept us in
Calvin
shape.
Boone. He was a different listen.
Yeah,
That was a
yeah.
different type of dude. I don't
Calvin
care what
Calvin
nobody
Boone
said.
danced to his own beat, man. We won the championship in St. John's. I think the first year I came back from the military, we won the championship. Um, so it was the Panamanian League, right?
Yep. Mhm.
They had the dance at the Baby Grand, which is off of Franklin Avenue, right? So we had the dance, me, Gary, everybody. We dressed to the nines. They got so mad at us that we won the championship. They would not play one. The DJ wouldn't play one American song. Everything was salsa. Everything was soca, merengue. Everything. So we
They was
sitting
doing
at the
that
table.
dirty.
Yeah, yeah, we sitting at the table like, man, ain't this some bullshit? Calvin said, enough of this. This Billie Jean was out. The song Billie Jean. Calvin said, enough of this shit. We the champs. So he goes over to the DJ and snatches his microphone off of off of the turntables and say, "Yo, we won the championship. We want some American music on in here."
Oh,
Yeah, and they threw on Billie Jean, and Calvin Boone did his rendition of Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk. That was the funniest thing I ever seen in my life, man. Calvin,
that's
he was special.
crazy.
Calvin was special.
Your boy Butch said, "What's up to you?"
Butch is another one. History. The history
Mhm.
with Butch. I met Butch when Butch was a teenager. A good friend of mine. His name was Miro, Panamanian guy. Um, Miss Peaches, God rest her soul, beautiful lady. Butch's mom, beautiful lady, man. I mean, she was a sweetheart. Miro was they were seeing each other. That's how I met Butch.
Mhm.
And then a couple of years later, I ran into Butch out there in the park playing ball, and the rest is history. We ended up playing together on Brooklyn. He's another one. I moved over to third base for him.
That's crazy. You're doing a whole lot of moving, man. Nobody
I was,
moving for you?
I was plug and play, man. I
I'm
just
just
wanted to
saying, man. You're doing all this moving. Did anybody move for you?
play. No, no, no. But the thing was, when I got to Brooklyn, come on,
Yeah.
okay, you had Lenny, you had an all-star team. You had Lenny Ming at
Yeah.
third base. You had Chris Legree at short. Okay, you had Gary played. Gary was I took my game and patterned my game behind after Gary Johnson. Gary Johnson could play anywhere.
Okay.
You and he would give you 100%. So Gary, uh, I think the infield at that time was Chris, Lenny, Wahoo, um, and I can't remember. I think Lefty played first sometimes, and then you had Fryson. You had a couple of guys that played first. But when I came, they moved. They had me at second for a while. Then Chris stopped playing with us, and then that's when I moved over to short. And
Okay.
they moved Calvin from behind the plate, and Calvin would play between um, the plate, home plate, and he would play second base. When we played, we was we never like some teams use four outfielders.
Mm.
You know, we never did that because
Yeah.
we had Deers. We had
Uh,
Dwight Madison, bro. We had Dwight Madison. We had Brian Smart, Bezo. I don't know if you remember Bezo. Um, we had Bezo in. We had Frog. We had Gary. I mean, we had Deers. Even Glenn Riley.
yeah, Glenn. Glenn.
Glenn Riley. I know he gonna hate me because I'm gonna say this shit. Couldn't hit his way out of a wet paper bag, but but he would go get him.
Now you're gonna have him. Al, I
Yeah,
want to come on for the rebuttal. He want to
I
come
know
on for
he gonna hit me up on Facebook. Glenn, if you're listening,
the
my brother. But let's be for real. You couldn't hit water even if you fell out of a boat. Okay, so
Oh my God,
uh,
man, that's
but you know what?
crazy.
Those were those were my guys. We
Yeah.
went to battle. We went to battle out in the Dust Bowl. Matter of fact, that one particular year, Yusef Hawkins
Mhm.
um, was
When he
they
got
did
killed. Hmm.
yeah they did a big article on us because when Yusef Hawkins got killed, we were he was killed right up the street from where we were playing. We played in the Dust Bowl, 65th and 8th Avenue, and it was funny because back to Dave Goldstein in Brooklyn. Now we got this
Hmm.
Jewish guy, right,
Right.
riding around in this Volkswagen van full of black guys. So we would pull up out in the park, and all the Italian guys and they would have their beach chairs sitting around waiting for us to come out there to play because we was the team that they loved to root against. Okay,
Hmm.
so it would be one black guy after another black guy after another black guy getting out of this Volkswagen van, and then Boomer would be the last one, and then they would look at Boomer like, "My God, that's a big dude." Boomer's another one. God rest his soul. Boomer was, Boomer was my dude. Boomer, I can't say enough about Boomer. hard nosed, and we would go out to the Dust Bowl and we would just play our games. You know,
Let me ask you about a team that I heard you managed.
the Young Guns
Yes,
when
let's
they
talk
fired
about. Yeah,
Eddie,
let's talk about this because I heard y'all had a stacked team.
we did. I took my cue from Chris Legree. I watched
Okay,
I watched how Chris Legree built more better.
okay.
Okay, but he had right handers. Okay, but
Mhm.
those guys knew how to use the field. They know how to go the ball up the middle, right center. If that's the type of hitter I was out there. Okay,
Mhm.
and the only way for you to be successful, especially on which end was that? Is that
Which
the
one? Which one?
not
By the train tracks, Atlantic Avenue.
no the other end?
Um,
Is that Herkimer?
uh, that's oh no, what's the name of that street? That's not Herkimer. That's
No. Okay, I thought it was Herkimer, but
I could wait a minute. I could be wrong. I've been moved out of Brooklyn that long. I can't remember the name of that
but
street.
the
That's
thing
right
the,
there.
the thing was you use that alley, that right center field, right center. But when I coached the young guns, I wanted to flip that. I had man, let me tell you something. I had about
Yeah, it's
eight
Herkimer.
eight lefties in a row. Eight lefties. I had eight lefties in a row. The only right handers I had was L's brother. I think Danny was his name, right?
I don't know who was on that team. I'm trying to figure out the roster. I'm trying to figure out how y'all lost. That's what I'm trying to figure it out.
Well, I was fired by then. You got to talk to Nat about that.
Well, I heard the team didn't come back after y'all lost to Mobella.
Well, I wasn't coaching them then. I mean, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Okay. Let's
We
talk about when you got there that first year.
that first year,
Okay, the
I
first year.
coached them. I didn't make it through the first year. I think we had one loss, and you know, like everything, every team. And don't get me wrong, I like Eddie. Eddie's my dude. I grew up with Eddie.
Mhm.
Okay, but those guys had no allegiance to me. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So we we played. We were undefeated up until, and then I had a commitment. I think what it was is I had too much other stuff going on, like playing, and these guys wanted to practice. I remember what's funny was when we did practice, we would do things together at night, like on a Friday night. I think remember the hunt for Red October?
Hmm.
No, not no no. No, I'm sorry.
The movie
The movie Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide with Denzel.
Right. We all went to the movies as a team that night and hung out. We had a great time. You know,
Okay.
we did what we wanted to do, but Eddie, I guess I didn't have the. I guess he felt that my commitment to the team wasn't where he wanted it to be. He wanted a manager. He wanted a manager like Chris, someone that was going to be there, practice Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday, and then Friday they do something, and then get ready for Sunday. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't that type of manager. I was still playing myself. So I kind of think
Mm.
that's what it was. But I have no hard feelings against those guys. By then, Brooklyn, we had already come out the league. In Kingston, we weren't playing in the league anymore, and because we realized at that point a lot of us was getting long in the tooth. We were getting old, and we just couldn't compete. You know, um, on that level because really, to be honest with you, toward the end of those years that we were playing out in Kingston Park, we all, if you notice, I don't know if you remember, but a lot of teams probably remember that played out there. We played all our games at night. We always wanted to play the last game because we had double headers up until 4 or 5 o'clock. So now we leaving from another park going out to Kingston. Now
You
that
trying to make it to that part? Yeah,
right,
yeah.
now that heat and that concrete, our legs is shot, and come on, man, more better had them young studs. We couldn't compete.
Boy, boy.
That's what it was, you know. That's what it was. So like I
Let
said,
me
hats off
yeah,
to
get yeah, Mobetta was definitely different. Let me ask you a question because a word that's been tossed around a lot: Hall of Famer and legend.
them.
Can you tell me the difference between the two?
A Hall of Famer, um, a Hall of Famer is someone that put the numbers up. You know what I'm saying? That stood out from the average player. Okay,
Mm.
but a legend stands out against all of them. Stands out from all of them. You know, is a
Mm.
breeder is a breed apart. A legend is someone for you to want to come out to a park, a city park, a public park, just to watch a person play. That's a legend. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
I played with a lot of legends, sitting on the bench, sitting on like in between innings, sitting and watching, playing with guys that you'll probably never see those type of players again in life. Never.
Mm.
You
Mm.
follow what I'm saying? It's
Yes. Yes.
I'm trying. Lefty McQueen, legend. This is a dude who I don't care what pitch, I don't care who's pitching. He's gonna put the ball in play. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm.
He's gonna make that play. That's Gary Johnson. That's the Chris Legree. Um, that's the speed Jerome Blackman, Speedy. I call him Black. Um, that's Dwight Madison. That's oh man, it's just so many of them, man. It's like those guys. I could sit and watch them all day long. I don't even have to play. I say to myself, when I sit on the bench and watch Al Watson, just make plays, and you be like, damn, this dude so smooth, effortless, effortless. It's so many of them like that. Tep was like that. Delroy was like that. Um, Milk was like that. Milk's another one. I don't know if you know Milk.
Oh yeah. Oh, listen, Milk and D Mac totally different. Like I love the
Yeah.
way they both played the game. Nothing but respect for both my brothers.
Hmm.
D Mac will go climb a tree in a minute and go get a ball.
Yep.
Milk will go run anything down in them gaps, and his arm was just as accurate as
Yes.
anything ever.
Yes.
Nothing but respect for both of those brothers, man.
We
Nothing but
we
respect.
we used to Dave. Me and Dave had a conversation. We used to have a conversation about Milk. He was like, I gotta, I'm gonna play him, but his hitting was a deficiency thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we don't, well, he
But
wasn't like that. Yeah.
but you know what? We both looked at each other and was like, don't matter. We'll cover that for him. You put him
You
out there.
got 10 other batters that can cover that. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Yeah,
That
I see
that
what you're
was
saying.
that was the difference, and
Mhm.
that was a Glenn Riley. I know he probably gonna fuss at me for saying that. Glenn, that was a Glenn Riley. That was it was, but again, these guys came over to the team. Butch is another one. Butch came over to the team, and they just fit right in. They was we never. I could honestly say that Brooklyn team, we never had any beef. I mean, we had like brotherly arguments. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember one time we was arguing about. So I don't know. We was arguing about something. I think it was arguing about the lineup or the batting order, and we was getting ready to play this team out in Coney Island, and they had a guy named what the hell? He's a slingshot pitcher. Fuck was his name? Jerry Aletta. Jerry Aletta. And so we argued. They had
Jerry
a, huh
Diker?
huh
Somebody said Diker?
he played out in Dyker.
No,
He's a
I think that what's his name? Diker. I think Butch
no
said
Jerry
Diker.
Aletta. His name was Jerry Aletta.
Oh, Atlanta. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Yeah, he threw slingshot, and so you had guys like I know you. Have you ever heard of Zorro?
I heard of Zorro. Yes.
Zorro Jr. is his cousin.
Mhm.
These guys threw slingshot, and so when you ring their phone to come out and pitch, you better have some money because
Mm.
that's it was lights out with them. And the only pitcher I know to this day for a fact that had that same status and didn't throw slingshot and threw legal was Jerry Ingallera, little Jerry,
Yeah, I heard a lot of news about
money,
Jay. I had Jay.
money pitcher,
Ooh.
money pitcher. And so we were arguing about something, and the guy just made me mad. And I used to, like I said, I used to always talk shit. I looked at him and I said, "Look, man, why don't you just shut the fuck up, get on my back, and enjoy the fucking ride?" And I ended up going, I think 4 for 5. I don't know if you ever played out at uh Avenue P in East Fifth in Coney Island.
I want to say yes.
Okay, right next to the yeshiva, across the street from the yeshiva school.
Now I'm not. I don't remember that far back, but I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you. I think I did play out there. I think I played out there with Dave.
yeah. If you play,
I think
yeah,
I played out there. Yeah.
that's who it was. I hit straight away center field. I hit 2 off of Jerry.
They said we was Oh, they said actually about Butchie Gonzalez,
Butchie, oh, another one.
and then they said no, we were playing off Diker and the Phantom Punch. I don't know what that means, but I mean, you Brooklyn guys are coming up here with
I ain't messing with that one.
That's Butch who said that. That's Butch who said that.
The Phantom Punch. Now, why Butch want to bring that up, man? We ain't going there. We're gonna leave that where it is. We're gonna leave that where it is. But it was those like I said, toward the end,
Yeah.
we like family, man. We argue, we don't argue, but we disagree. Um
But I
and,
kept it amongst
but
the
we
team.
exactly. I remember Calvin Boone was getting ready to fight somebody on the team. I think it was Al. I think it was Al Smith, the guy with the mittens, because he came and played with us a couple years. The one thing about Dave, if you can play halfway a little bit, Dave is gonna sign you. Okay, so he was getting ready to play with us, and he wanted to catch, and Calvin was our best catcher. So him and they was getting ready. They had words or something. So, but when the game started, one of the other teams wanted to come after Dave. We would be out in the park. It's amazing how we would be in the park, right? And all of a sudden, when a team fight breaks out, you got 9 guys running to beat up Goldstein. You know, the littlest guy on the field. You know, so Calvin stands up and says, "No, no, 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 y'all not gonna do that." He says, "I tell you what, y'all line up, and I'll knock every last one of y'all. I'll knock every last one of y'all out." And so there was a game. They had a guy. He was mob connected. His name was Tilio. We were playing out in the Dust Bowl. He was an Italian guy, and he was a mobster. And who was pitching? I think Jr. was pitching. No, Butch was pitching. Butch Gonzalez. Butch Gonzalez was pitching, and Calvin was catching, and Tilio was up the bat. And this was like a hard fought game. I mean, these two teams, Heroes Inn and Brooklyn, we did not like each other at all. And Butch threw a riser. I mean, this riser started at maybe ankle high, but by the time it got to the plate, it fucking
Mm.
exploded. Like boom, it just exploded. And Tilio swung through it and missed. Calvin goes, yeah, he jumps up and he still had the mask on, right? And Tilio is holding the bat. He turns around, drops the bat, and boom, boom, he two-pieces Calvin. But when he two-pieced him, Calvin still had the mask on. So boom, boom,
He had his hands.
no, wait, no. So we all take me, Gary, Frog, we tear ass to the plate because we gonna rumble now. By the time we got to the plate, Calvin had already flipped over and wore his ass out at home.
Oh man.
And the park was definitely quiet because everybody, because we were playing out in Coney Island and Bensonhurst, they knew who Tillio was in Bensonhurst. He was a mobster. But when Calvin tore his ass up, we were like, okay, it's time to get out of here now. But Tillio, after that, he had nothing but respect for Calvin. And that's when Brooklyn, that's when we got our respect out there in the Dust Bowl, and that's when we came together as a team. You could talk shit. We'll talk shit to each other. We'll argue with each other. But we're going to go to war for each other, too. That was the difference.
Man, it was something different, man. When it you guys was a family. That's how Mobetta was. That's how AL is. You know, a
Yep.
lot of the teams that's coming up, you know, they all had that stigma of family first over the softball, which made it easier to play
Yes.
softball because you knew that you could depend on your brother. You know what I'm saying? And that was something that was very important at all times. Let me ask you this. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I want to ask you this. I know it's going to be hard because you're going to put yourself out. You're not going to put yourself out there. I want you to give me, for the money, I've asked everybody this question, for the money. Game on the line, you up by 1, you on the defensive side. And then we're going to do an offensive side.
Okay.
You on the defense. Who you got at first base for you?
At first base, Lenny Benjamin.
Okay. Who you got at second?
Second base, Calvin Boone, Chris Legree.
A and B. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who you got at short?
Al Watson, without a doubt.
Third base.
Me.
I'm surprised because you keep telling you moving yourself over, so that's why I'm surprised you give him your spot.
Well, when Lenny left, that was my position. When Lenny left,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Who you got behind the plate?
Calvin Boone. If he's not at second, he's behind the plate.
Okay. Who you got pitching?
Oh shit! Fast pitch or slow pitch?
Well, this is your era, so it's fast pitch.
Fast pitch. Butch Gonzalez or Robert Santiago, who is nicknamed Fats. Either one of those two.
Over Jerry?
Well, see, you got to understand, Jerry didn't play with us at that point.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay.
You know, but if now, I will say this about Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a money game and I had my rent money on the game, oh, fuck Jerry. Fucking Jerry hands down.
He had that rent money, huh?
What? If I had to bet my rent money, if I took my rent money and bet my rent money on the game and I had to have one pitcher, Jerry and Galera.
Ooh, that's tough.
Fucking bulldog.
That's
bulldog.
Tough.
And like I said, the tighter his arm get, the better his breaking ball is. I ain't never seen nobody throw. And I hit against it, and I played behind it. Okay, so I seen both aspects of it.
Right. You seen it, yeah. That's tough.
Boy, it was good.
Who you got left?
Gary Johnson.
I don't know if I should skip center, so I don't know why.
Don't you?
I'm not. And by the way, he just sent me a text message to say, "What's up?"
Tell him I said, "What's up, man?" Long time.
Who you got him right?
Bezo, Brian Smart.
Ooh, okay. Now we're gonna do the offensive side.
Okay.
If you had a lineup, and you know, I saw the lineup but I'm just gonna ask you who you want. Who's batting leadoff for you?
For us, Butch.
Okay.
Butch Nelson. Second, Calvin Boone.
Third.
Myself.
Fourth. It's starting to get interesting now because you're thinking a little bit now. You had to slow down a little bit.
Okay. Fourth would be easily Brian Smart.
Okay.
Bezo.
Okay.
I'm
5.
partial to lefties, that's why. But go ahead.
I'm starting to see. Yeah. Okay. 5.
Uh, Frog.
6.
Lenny Benjamin.
7.
Wahoo.
8.
Well, 8 would be, I would put Doc 8 because 2 reasons. When me and Bezo first came to Brooklyn, we batted 8 and 9.
So you said now you repaying the debt, right? Right.
Yeah. So, but no, and that's only because number one, as a hitter, pure hitter, use the field, uses the whole field, and could run like the wind. So to me, my 8th hitter is just as important as my leadoff hitter. My 8th hitter would be my leadoff hitter, and my 9th hitter is my number 2 hitter. That's my philosophy.
No, I've seen that philosophy worked, and it actually played out too. I've seen that philosophy work out, so I know what you're talking about.
Yep.
Now, you played in Kingston for a short period of time. I know you didn't play there for a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
The competition level. What do you think about that competition level between Gersh, even though it was fast pitch, but the competition was just as strong in Kingston, just like Gersh?
Yeah.
What do you think about those two?
It's one. It's hard to compare, but the only comparison is this: the first year that Gersh moved to Kingston, it had to be about 16 teams. It was 16. It was like, it was amazing. It was 16 teams, hard nosed. Everybody played. I don't even think it was one bad team in the league, because you had teams that came over from St. John's.
Right.
USA came over, and it was a couple other teams. I mean, Tony, that's when I got my first good look at Tony Cherry Jr. Okay. And I was amazed by him. It's great. Fucking hitter. I mean, he was just a tremendous hitter. But Gershwin, I want to say, the difference between Gershwin and Kingston, Kingston, like I said, had 16 teams, but they had about 8 or 9 good teams. Wasn't no bad teams. Even the teams on the lower end of the spectrum were still good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the difference with Gershwin had the same amount of teams, but after you start going down 4 or 5 teams, it fell off. So it was a lot of teams out there that was just giving their money to the league, because they was never going. It was
donation to the fundraisers, huh?
It was donation to people's jackets and trophies and all that shit. That's what it was. But so if I had to pick, I would say the competition wise, Kingston, hands down.
Okay.
Hands down was Kingston. Gershwin, you got to understand something about fast pitch. Pitching dominates, because the reason there's pitches like I said, Jerry, Butchie, you had Mike Avona, you had Joe LaRosa. These guys could do some filthy shit with a softball. I mean, Mike, I tell people, I mentioned Mike, but Mike Avona had one of the best risers that I've ever seen in my life. This dude riser would literally start at your shoe tops, and by the time it got to the plate, boom, it'd just blow up. You know? Joe LaRosa, aside from the only other person I knew that had a better curveball than Joe LaRosa, Jerry and Galera. Butch was just filthy. Butch had about 7 pitches, 8 pitches. But his worst one was that he had a drop. It was a drop. I mean, it would be coming to the plate, then all of a sudden, it disappeared. Shit would drop. And you just swing over the top of it. So, but those guys killed leagues. I'm gonna be honest with you. They killed leagues. Jerry Ingalera, Jerry Aletta, Butchie Gonzalez, J.R. Zorro. If you don't have a pitcher to compete, you're never going to beat these guys. So there
Mm.
ain't but so many of these guys around. I mean, elite pitchers back then, maybe 4 or 5. Even you remember the newscaster Jim Jensen?
Yeah,
He was a decent pitcher. He used to pitch for CBS. We used to play against CBS.
I heard about CVS. I heard about the CVS teams. Yeah.
So Slow Kingston, competition wise, was probably the better league. Only the sad part about Kingston was by the time we got out there to play, we were a bunch of old timers.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? We were old
Yeah.
timers. We were fast pitch players. You know, Kingston slow pitch is a different game. The same thing. I remember Ray Haskins having a conversation with Ray Haskins. Ray used to always try to get me to come out to St. John. He said, Randolph, you come out to St. John's and play with Brooklyn USA. I'm like, Ray, I can't hit that shit, you know?
That arc is different.
Yeah,
That
I said,
arc,
it's a whole
man,
different
the arc is
breed.
different.
And
Yeah.
so one year, I said, yeah, Ray talked me into it. So I ended up going out there. And I had a good year, but I was just, everything I hit was flat. I wanted the flat pitch.
Yeah,
And when
you
teams,
waited for that. You
I
waited for
waited for the flat
that.
pitch. And when teams figured that shit out, everything was
Uh,
up there. And I was like, I hate this shit. I ain't coming back out here no more. But the interesting story with Ray Haskins, when he was umpiring out in Brownsville, right? I love Ray Haskins, funny dude. We would come out to the park and I'd be tired. He'd look at me and go, Randolph, how many games you played today? I said, man, this is my 6th game of the day. I said, and I don't feel like playing. He said, you don't want to play today? I said, nah. He said, okay. So Ray would go behind the plate to call the game. And I'm up the bat. And true story. We were playing, Randy was on the mound. I don't know what team he was playing on. Anyway, Randy threw a pitch that bounced at the plate. And Ray said, strike one. And I turned around and looked at him. He said, what? That's it. You're gone. I said, thank you. Because he knew I wanted to get out the game. He threw me out of the game. And so that became, listen, that became a standard thing. So on the way to the park, Dave would be like, Ray is behind the plate. He says, I know you don't want to play today because you already played 4 games. I'm like, Dave, I'm tired. And sure enough, Ray would call a pitch high, and all I had to do was turn around and look, and he'd throw me out. So,
oh my God, that's a classic,
yeah,
right
I'd be
there.
like, thank you, Ray. Thank you. He said, yeah, no problem, Randolph. Go sit down. And that's it. And I go sit on the bench because I was tired. This is toward the end. This is toward the end of the last couple of years. I think my last game out there in Kingston was maybe 1989, maybe 90.
Oh wow.
I was done. I was done. I had friggin' heel spurs. I was done. You got to remember, since I was 13, I was playing softball on that damn
Right,
concrete.
right.
And now at that time, I was what? Maybe 39, going on 40. Man, Dave used to like, I can't wait till you turn 40 so you can play in the 40 and over. Bullshit. I'm not playing that.
I'm done.
I'm done. And I had 2 sons, and and they down here. Both of them. One is in Atlanta. The other one's in down here in South Carolina. My oldest boy ended up. He's an odd boy. He played basketball. He's 6'5", so I don't know where he got that from. Might be the milkman or something. But he played basketball at Charleston Southern University. My youngest boy played at Eastern Kentucky. He played football. They didn't want to play baseball. I mean, they played when they was little.
Right.
They got a certain age. They were like, nah, Pop, I ain't
I'm done.
Yeah. So he's playing at he graduated last year. He was an offensive lineman at Eastern Kentucky. And my grandson, like I was telling you off camera, my grandson, he's a defensive back, and he's playing at Hartsfield Simmons College in in Austin, Texas. So
Okay.
I watch them. Especially my grandson. He sends the link. Been out to Austin twice to see two of his games. They lost NCAA Division 3 championship. They lost this year. I went to that game, and I went to the homecoming game. They won the homecoming game, but he would send me the link. I watch it on the computer, then get on the phone and call him and say, "Hey, you got beat on this play," just to have
Mm.
fun with him.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I get it. Is there anything you want to talk about that we haven't talked about? Or
Uh,
we can save it for a part two because I know you got a lot of information and a lot of
mhm.
stories,
Well, I
and we
just
definitely want to
really,
save it.
really, I just want to say, you know, people didn't used to say a lot of things about Dave Goldstein. Dave Goldstein was my friend, and I want to give him his props. Okay, Dave Goldstein was my friend. Um, Dave Goldstein would give you the shirt off of his back. I could honestly say that he was a good man. He was a good man. Um, I love his daughter, Dee Dee, Jasmine. You know, um, I wish them the best. I miss them dearly. And I know they miss him dearly. And this is a dude that did so much for me. He did so much for Gary, um, and a lot of the other guys. Speedy can attest to that. Speedy was there. Speedy saw the goodness in that man. And I just wanted to say he's truly missed. And for me to be sitting here talking about Brooklyn and not mention his name and give him his props would be totally disrespectful. Butch as well. Butch knows that as well. On what I'm saying. So
Mhm.
um, I just wanted to say, man, I miss you, Dave. I know you looking down on us, and I hope we lived up to your expectations. That's it.
That's dope, man. Well, I'm gonna do a part two with you later on. I just want to say thank you for
You know
coming up
what? I
to the
tell you
show.
what.
What's
We
up?
do the part two, but
But
I want some other guys from the team out here from Brooklyn. I can get a couple guys.
we
Calvin.
got
Calvin calls me all the time.
say no more. However, we can make it a Brooklyn interview.
Yeah, yeah. Get them guys.
That's fine.
Demetrius Allen.
Yeah.
It's that would be fun. That would be.
No, that'll be good. I can even probably because I interviewed Jazz, so maybe I can get her to come
Oh,
back
you
on.
interviewed Jasmine?
Yeah, I interviewed her. It took me a while. It took me a while, but she eventually knuckled up. She did it. There was some crying involved in that show,
Hmm.
but you know what? It was good to get her side, to hear the stories from her perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because she saw it firsthand growing
Yeah.
up. So it's only right that I let her give her piece. She
Hmm.
even brought out some old championship jackets from back in the
Yes.
days. So
Yes.
it was good to get that interview, and that's something
Hmm.
that I wanted to do, and I wanted to give Dave his flowers. And I put it to you this way: if you didn't, you knew you kind of made yourself a name for yourself if you played on Brooklyn,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he didn't just put anybody on his teams.
No.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Let's just be real. And I was lucky enough to play with Brooklyn. I was lucky enough to play with these stars, the legends, the OGs, and I was blessed to learn from them. So I take that very seriously, and that's why I was glad to get to meet you and ask for, hey man, I want to hear that story. And you
Hmm.
say, hey, whatever you need, I'm here. So I
Yeah.
really appreciate you giving me your time and your energy, my brother. And I look forward to that part two.
Same here, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Black and
They
Butch,
all on here. Al is
all
on
y'all,
here.
man. Alley
Speedy. They
Cat.
all on here.
Hey, man, I miss you guys. I think about you guys often. Me and Demetrius, like I said, we talk all the time, but we reminisce. Sometimes we be on the phone 35, 40 minutes reminiscing about you guys, man. And I miss all of y'all, and take care. I love you, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
Oh, no problem, my brother. I really appreciate you. And if you don't mind, some of the brothers, if you want me to pass out your number, I will do that.
Absolutely.
I would definitely
Absolutely.
keep in contact, 'cause it's all about connections. Like you said, we always family, and we got to
Absolutely.
stay connected at the end of the day. If you're not doing anything this year, I am doing an A60 reunion in August. I would love for you to come and be a part of the event. We do the Old Timers Day in the park on Saturday. We do a
Hmm.
party on Friday night. If you can get yourself in town, come on through, man, and have us a great time.
I'm in there, but I will not be playing.
Don't worry. A lot of the guys don't play. They sit
Okay.
around. They
I'm
sit
not,
around and have a good time and
yeah,
just
I'm not going to embarrass
they
myself like
they
that.
take pictures and we just have a good time, man. Really, it's just camaraderie and
Okay.
family for one day, for one weekend, and that's something that I take pride in. And I would love to have you come out, my brother.
Great. Keep me posted on that. You know what? That sounds like a plan. I might bring my sons because they look back and they were like, Dad, you ain't never played. You know what I'm saying?
This is a good way to break them on down.
Yeah. Yeah, but thank you, man. Thank you. Take
Oh,
care.
Butch said you got to take one at bat.
Nah, Butch, forget that, bro. That ain't happening.
Look, I'm gonna tell you. I think you might have to do it because I got Butch to play shortstop.
Hell no.
I got Al Watson to come and play second base.
Okay. That sounds good.
I'm just telling you, I got Speedy to pitch. I got Randy to pitch.
Okay.
That's it.
Here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. I might luck up and hit the ball and have to run. Okay.
Look, do what some of them do. Walk. it's fine.
You trying to get me, man. Tell Butch, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
All right, man. But listen, I appreciate you again. And I'll definitely keep in contact and then let you know and keep you updated on everything.
Yes, sir. Take care, guys. It was great.
All right. Peace, my brother.
Peace.
Family, friends, man. I just got to give a shout out to my man Rob for doing this interview. Really appreciate that. Talking about the Brooklyn history, the Gershwin history, the stories. It's something that can't be duplicated. The memories is always there. I love it, man. I love history. 860 is going to have to get up out of here because I got to get to practice. Probably going to be a little bit late, but it's well worth it because I love spending time with my family and friends on my show and just making sure that y'all get the proper information. For those of you who tuned in, thank you so much. Peace and salute. Anybody that would love to subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's called Chopping It Up with 860s. 860. Shout out to all my sponsors that participate with me every year. And I will be talking to you guys later. Peace and love.